No sword, no armor, 3 tests. They explain why one stone turned into an entire battle. Today, 3 clear elements: mass, rotation, and mirror. They show like a stone bringing down a giant, in a way visible and practical, with a practical explanation of the Bible. It helps you. Save this video now, and pay attention to the proof point. That light's already in the next second. David versus Goliath isn't about size. It's about precision. Today, you will view on screen like a stone with mass, rotation, and target. It can take down a giant. Simple, visual, clear proof. When purpose meets technique, the impossible falls. No veil of Elatu armies face each other in the distance as the wind sweeps the dust from the ground. The decision will not come from whom shout louder, but whose measure range and precision coldly. When the impact window is short, body size deceives and time, it all changes. A simple gesture, at the right moment, transform an entire scenario. The question is straightforward: how a young man without armor faces a trained warrior in bronze. The distance seems unfavorable. The time is running out. Those who hesitate are at risk, and the margin for error is minimal. The target advances, confident in her own strength, occupying the landscape and intimidating. It looks wrong, he finished. If it's correct, turns. The short answer: the duel was decided by scenario analysis and applied technique. The valley offers clear line of sight, the approach open the window, and the gesture is calculated. A right tool used, no right angle converts movement into useful energy. It's not a spectacle. It's simple engineering in service of the decision. Think of a penalty. It's not about who kicks the hardest, but who scores. Find the right spot, no time exactly. The goalkeeper's physical advantage is taken away with repeatable technique, not with a bet. On the battlefield, David exchanged brute force by reliable precision. Training and serenity pull the trigger when the window opens. Which tool transforms that precision into real power? Many people imagine a children's slingshot, but what David used was a WA sling, 2 sturdy straps and 1 central pocket, handled with controlled turn and timed release. It's not a random impulse. It's a continuous acceleration system in the circle, accumulating energy. When the strip comes loose, the stone tangential exit with speed capable of knocking down a large object. This difference is crucial to understanding the duel. A toy push the stone. The sling multiplies speed for the rotation. It's like comparing one bicycle stopped with a wheel that's already spinning downhill. The previous movement completely changes the output force. And this doesn't arise from improvisation. It is trained skill. Arm, wrist, and rhythm combine to repeat the same gesture. Always. One does not aim at an imaginary point. One aims at area which opens at the right time. A sling is a tool that requires standard, not brute force. When we replace the image of the toy with that of simple weapon of war, the story changes from unlikely miracle to well-applied strategy. David did not win with what I didn't have, he won with what dominated. The question was never why did he dare, but how much did he train? What if the right stone makes all the difference in impact? The first test is tactile, it's easy to visualize. The pebble David used wasn't just any stone, one river pebble rolled by the water. It becomes dense, compact and smooth, with useful mass for impact. Smooth surface reduces air drag, maintaining speed in flight. Rounded shape reduces deviations and preserves energy along the way. Mentally compare a beach ball and a bola de boliche. The first one flies easily, but it does not carry an impact. The second, with weight, it transforms movement into force. In the basic equation of ancient physics, mass x velocity as impact energy. If the stone is too light, the speed is lost in the air. If it is dense, she arrives with authority. In the valley, whether the wind is light, and to line of sight is clear, this pebble acts as a predictable projectile. It doesn't dance in the air. It doesn't wobble. It doesn't lose its aim. David chose stones that they follow the trajectory, not that they fight against it. This shows that David did not improvise. He chose the right material, in the right place. Nature did the work of calibrate shape and surface for years. It's no coincidence. It's an intelligent reading of environment as arsenal. The place already provided the ideal ammunition for those who knew what to look for. Okay, we have impact. But who guarantees stability all the way to the target? The second test is therotation. The rotation applied to the pebble creates stability in flight. When something spins fast, it tends to maintain your orientation, like a top that doesn't fall while it's going fast. This is the gyroscopic effect. It reduces oscillations and keeps the trajectory clear. In other words, the stone doesn't wobble. He follows. Imagine a ball thrown by a quarterback in American football. When he prints spin, the ball pierces the air with precision. Without spin, it wobbles and brings a look before arriving. With spin, she obeys. In the sling, the rotation is already born of the gesture itself. The spin before release is precisely what armor or spin. At the right moment, the stone comes out with speed and stability already configured. This transforms the shooting into something repeatable, reliable. In the duel, this means that the aim didn't need to be perfect. She needed to be consistently targeted as frontal zoners, the distance closed in. Spin reduces natural error and maintain the line of the trajectory. Physics is serving the decision. If the stone is stable and with mass, where exactly is the target aimed in order to bring down the giant? The third test organizes where to get it right. One does not aim at a lowercase dot, but in a vulnerable frontal zone. In the advancement, the target expands in the field of vision, creating impact window clearer. The neck, face, and forehead area of skull offer direct reception panel. Upon hitting the target there, the body loses balance and water. In combat, the giant advance, reducing the distance on their own. That increases accuracy from the shot, because less space grants less variation. The stone doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be well positioned. A frontal impact interrupts the step, and when the step breaks, the giant collapses. Historical and archaeological accounts show that slingshots were able to drop helmets and slabs with dense pebbles. In other words, what we see here is consistent using known techniques from ancient warfare. The frontal impact, it's not unlikely. It is strategic, calculated and trained. David didn't try, he executed. In the end, the question ceases to be, how dare he? And becomes, how did he know where to aim? The valley, the advance, and the sling. They created the exact moment. He was mass plus rotation plus target zone working together, and the giant fell. If the plan was sound, where did the courage come from to act at the right time? David. He refuses Saul's armor, not out of irresponsible audacity, but out of a clear understanding of competence and context, because it's a tool you don't master. Increases the margin of error precisely when the moment demands it. Refined execution, and in a duel decided by milliseconds of release and degrees of angle, any extraneous weight disrupts the gesture, showing that winning, it's not about having more, it is to know to use what is already tuned into the body. The sling wasn't visually impressive, but it was result of silent hours, in empty fields where only the flock, stones and wind, they witnessed the training, and that which is repeated, not hidden, creates patterns that, under pressure, they flow without hesitation, making courage something, muscle memory in service of a purpose. When choosing rounded pebbles from the stream itself, David eliminated unnecessary variables, predictable weight, smooth surface, consistent shape, everything aligned with trajectory predictability, because improvisation increases noise, and noise increases error, and error close the window. Then he transforms the environment as an ally, instead of treating the scenario as an obstacle. In the end, victory was not in our hands, to enchant the countryside with appearance, but in maximize what the body already knew how to do. without strangeness or belated adaptation, because trying to fight against the other person's appearance is living outside of one's own axis. And David wins precisely because he remains focused on what he knows how to do. With the right tools and materials, what was it about the valley that made shooting so accurate? The Vale of Elyat's not just a beautiful setting, it's a natural visa corridor, a space where the line between one point and another is maintained, clean, open, without obstacles, and when the land offers direct horizon, the brain calculates distance and time with greater stability, reducing distractions and enabling the hand gesture. Go out with confidence. On uneven terrain, full of trees, hills and shadows, aiming becomes divination, because the eye fights against visual noise that hinder the reading of the trajectory. But in the valley, the advancing giant becomes clearly cut out against the background, and that expands the target area as the distance shortens. Furthermore, the valley creates controlled approach. Goliath needs to walk in a straight line to reach David without lateral protection, and every step he takes increases the apparent size of the target in the frame of the aimer, transforming the enemy's advance into a shooter's advantage. Thus, what seemed like a disadvantage, the giant overcome by its own confidence, in truth it opened at the perfect moment, because the space favored the clear reading of the time. The window was forming alone. It was enough: do not tremble, don't rush, don't be late, and all the previous physics fit in the same second. But even with favorable technique and terrain, why didn't David tremble? Courage is not feel nothing, it is doing the right thing despite how you feel, and this stems from repetition in simple contexts where the body records reliable standards, because when the pressure mounts, the mind doesn't invent. It recovers what was trained, and the hand executes in time what you already know in the body. While shepherding, David learned Toto watch, to calculate distance, to protect with the sling, without an audience, without spotlights, without applause, only consistency day after day, and each correct shot turned neural pathway, available for the decisive moment, transforming maybe I can into I've done this 1,000 times already. Faith enters without competing with the technique. She stabilizes the heart, so that the technique don't tremble as the giant advances and the noise grows, because faith doesn't replace physics, aligns the interior so that physics can be applied, and the result is a serenity that serves the purpose. Thus, in the second in which the window opens, there is internal negotiation. The plan is not being revised, and no more time is being requested. Execute and what it looks like from the outside, audacity inside it is, obedient memory, the whole body saying, now, and the stone Indo. Still, there are myth who are trying to slow down the turnaround. Which ones crumble when faced with the evidence? Myth. It was luck. The evidence shows that there was no random selection, but appropriate mass, stabilizing rotation, and aim at target zone. 3 factors that they reduce chance, and they increase predictability, transforming the shot into calculated execution, not an uncertain attempt. Myth. It was just a slingshot. The sling is weapon of war capable of reaching speeds comparable tooled military launches, with angular release that prints consistent spin, keeping the clean track record, and the gesture is technique learned, refined, no improvised game. Myth. No one can take down a giant like that. Anatomical vulnerabilities, they exist and have been used in combat for centuries, and a dense projectile hitting the frontal zone caused neuromotor instability, knocking the body down by impact, not by comparative brute force. Myth. It's impossible. Impossible is what cannot be understood. When we understand, the impossible loses its luster, and what seemed extraordinary reveals itself to be precise, trained, plausible. Why faith did not invalidate physics. She guided the hand to use it at the right time. So, if all 3 pieces of evidence are clear, what is this episode telling us today? When mass, rotation, and mirror converge, which seemed impossible, he is clear. There is no longer any mystery in the movement of the stone. There is coherence between what the body trained for and what the heart sustained. Physics served its purpose. Courage did not tremble. The moment did not escape. The coup was not accidental. It was the exact result of everything that came before. And here is the symbol. Giants don't fall when you try to be bigger than them. They fall when you hit the right spot with what you already know how to use. Small but clear wins against big but confused. Many people look to history searching for a miracle against the laws of the world. But what we see is something even more powerful. God didn't cancel out physics. He aligned courage with preparation. Faith did not replace action. Faith, he steadied his hand, who already knew what to do. The anchor image is this. The pebble landing in the palm of the hand, the ember beam marking the proof point bullseye, and the brief silence before the movement, the instant where everything is decided. We saw that it wasn't luck. He was applied physics at the right time. Test 1, a mass and density from the pebble they gave real impact. Test 2, a rotation stabilized the flight and maintained the line of sight. Test 3, a frontal target zone turned the coup plausible and decisive. The story of David versus Goliath is no longer a distant tale and becomes a clear method. Small plus precise wins big plus confusing. When preparation, reading of the moment and purpose, they line up, the turnaround happens. Ekai. If this type of body tested helps you understand the Bible clearly, sign up and activate the reminder. Here we exchange noise for simple evidence. If David faced a giant, where did the giants come from? In the next video, you'll see on the body as historical and biblical clues about lineages of giants after the flood, with findings, maps and references organized. Small plus precise wins big plus confusing. And the story continues in the next video on the screen.